Okay, so here is the second Chaotic Firestorm that I ran. As you can see, my drones still have the slight bit of damage from the first, because I definitely did not dock up in between, I just restocked. And I only restocked the minimum amount that I needed to, and the first room we got was a Drek room with a couple Kiki. The Kiki really aren't a huge issue when there's just a few of them. So I took out the Starving first, because this can be here the quickest, and I'm still going to have to travel to the Tangling anyway. But we're going for the Tangling. The Ghosting are marked to shoot after that. They have a bigger range than I do, so they're going to start hitting me a bit sooner. I will end up hitting my second rep there. This is another one of the rooms where they don't switch a whole lot. Like, you'll see the Damavik switch, who cares? You'll see the Drek switch, also, who cares? But the Kiki, they'll shoot drones. They'll shoot, like, one of them will go off to shoot somebody else, but most of them stay on the tank. It's the reason why we have one tank and 2 DPS in a lot of these things. So we're going to take out the Kiki there first. Grab the next Kiki Ghosting. And at this point in time, I'm just going around the Drekovics, because the Kiki also stay around the Dreks. So sometimes with a room like this, with the Hawks, for example, if there's Drekovics, then the Kikis don't even come after you. You just kill them all from range. Unfortunately, these guys just don't have that thing called range. They're limited to about 23, 24 kilometers, and that's all you get. So now we're shooting this guy. We have the Drekovics marked, because for Nurgles, you absolutely split up DPS, because these guys ramp up really, really well. So this we're focusing on the last Kiki, and then we're going to the Drekovics. As you can see, I'm going into orbit really close to the individual ones that my guys have. I'm not quite there yet, but I also have to switch ammo on 3 characters as well. And I think I remember that the Deviant was pretty far away at this point, so I brought out my drones to help shoot as well. And what I did was, because my tank has less DPS than my other 2, I put my drones for my DPS on this guy as well, so that they could all die at close to the same time, and my guys would get to ramp up pretty good. So after this, there's going to be 3 Damaviks left. The Damaviks really aren't too DPS. They're not DPS heavy, and they don't have any abilities in this case. We already took out the one that had an ability. So we'll switch to a longer range ammo. We'll take out the Damaviks, but we're going to be heading towards the gate. And in this room, the room can take a while for my Hawks, but for these guys, they just plow through it pretty quick. That DPS ramping up makes a huge difference. I brought my drones in too early. I didn't realize I didn't actually have to bring them in. The medium isn't towards that cache like I thought it was. But I still had to fly towards the cache and blow that up anyway, and there were only 3 of them, so it's not like it was a huge deal. It's not like it took any real time out of this. You can see we're at about the 5-minute mark. That gives us almost 2 minutes. So we just went and grabbed loot and headed to the next room. 31 million, nothing too special in that one. Average is about 50 million per cache, if you're kind of curious as to what it generally works out to. Firestorm I find is a little higher, because you can get a couple plates that are worth a bit more. And some of the armor reps as well. Second room is a bunch of Damaviks and a single Vedmak. This one wasn't too bad, because it was one Vedmak, so I went straight for a blue cloud. Normally, you stay away from the blue clouds. However, the Damaviks don't do much damage. The Tesseras, being the frigate ones, they can. But they also die really quickly in a blue cloud, and I've got a lot of reps on this guy, and I can rep my other guys if needed. So I took out the Tangling first, so I could get over to the cloud a bit quicker. I'm in the cloud now, so I'm going to do a little bit of extra damage there. All my drones hit them better. All my weapons hit them better. They hit me a bit better as well. However, the only one I really have to worry about is the Harrowing Vedmak. So I took out the Tanglings and the Ghostings first. because the tangling slow me down and the ghosting screw with my range. And these guys just don't really have a ton of range to begin with. And apparently I completely forgot to even shoot this guy with that particular character, though that's alright. So at this point in time, I'm pretty sure I'm working on just kind of killing a lot of the little guys in between. And then I'm going to work on killing that harrowing Vedmak, which I kind of have to possibly stay around, but at least pay attention to where it's going. So we take that guy out. Nothing else, again, is much of a threat at that point. We are still a decent way away from the cache to get out of here, which we want to get closer to that at some point. I turned off my AB so we can just kind of coast in the blue cloud for a little bit, because again, it is helping me kill these guys. And that's where we head to the cache. Not super fast. We do have the AB on, but we are in a Firestorm. These guys will all come fairly close to me at this point in time. They're not going to go too far away, for the simple fact that they're not following the Vedmak anymore, and they're pretty easy to kill at that point. Range is a really big thing for the Nurgles, and keeping things in range can be challenging at times. So, 2 guys left. Decent chunk in that one. Okay, I didn't see, but I think it was like 80 million. And we're ready for the last room. And quite a bit of time left. You have 10 minutes left for your third room in a tier 5. You're doing all right. And here is the other Tessera Room that I mentioned earlier. I thought it was in the third one, but apparently not. And I definitely made 1 or 2 small mistakes in here, but they were ones I could recover from. There's a single snarecaster. He is the one that must die first. You do not want to let those snarecasters live. Because if these guys hit like trucks, you need to keep your proper 15 kilometers or so distance from these guys at all times. If you don't, things can get very, very painful. So there we are shooting there. I clicked a little too fast on a couple things and went keep it range for one of the Tesseras and realized it. And definitely started hitting everything and working on flying away. I knew I would need my ADC on that one, so I hit it quite early. And even though I got to range on most of them, I'm pretty sure I took a big hit here somewhere. So if you look there, I'm at over 10 kilometers away from everything, and there's a nice big hit from wrecking shot from one of them. So you really do want to keep at least like 15, 16 kilometers, which is why Mystic just isn't quite good enough for this. Because if you're running Mystic, then 18 is your range, and it's too easy to fall out. Keeping them within 3 kilometers, but none of them closer than that is, it's just terrible to try to keep them in that 3 kilometer range. 15 to 18. So you're better off leaving yourself 15 to 23. That's quite a bit better. I'm using the Synth Frentics, which gives me just that little bit of an extra boost. So this guy's going to work on the Field Weavers. The other guys are going to keep killing my DPS is going to keep killing the Tesseras, and everything will be pretty well fine in this one. Notice I did get us quite close to the cache there, so that we don't have to fly too far away towards the end of this thing. There's 3 Tesseras left. A couple of Field Weavers, but those guys really aren't a huge concern. 2 Tesseras left. And that's when I decided I was going to go get the cache, because I can generally tank 2 of them as long as I keep moving. If you start stopping, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But as long as you keep movement, then you're pretty well okay. As long as you don't stay in their range. That's the kicker. So for this one, this turned out pretty good as well. Just a little over 100 million in there. So about the equivalent of 2 rooms, so I made out a little bit extra on this one, not too bad. And there's the last 2 of them dying. Remember, I have this on 150%, so it is sped up a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm always happy to answer them. and have yourselves an absolutely wonderful day. That one took under 15 minutes. And for Tier 5 Fire, that's always a good thing. The tankier rooms just aren't quite as tanky here. Not for Nurgles, anyway. And we'll take a quick look at what we got. Loot worked out to be 230 million. And again, I'll have a thing for you there.